Welcome to the UCLI Legal Lounge, a podcast helping you on your journey towards law school. My name is Sabrina Ruiz-Monroy, and I'm the Associate Director at UCLI. Each episode, we interview law students, lawyers, and law admissions experts to bring you insight and tips on making the path to law school a little bit easier. This podcast is brought to you by the Utah Center for Legal Inclusion, or UCLI for short, and is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to advancing the goals of fairness, opportunity, and inclusion in Utah's legal profession. We work to encourage people of all ages and backgrounds to consider joining the legal profession. Please visit utahcli.org for more information and resources. Our episode this week is brought to you by Intermountain Health, a proud sustaining sponsor at the Utah Center for Legal Inclusion. Intermountain Health is the largest nonprofit health system in the Intermountain West. They're dedicated to creating healthier communities and helping people live the healthiest lives possible. Intermountain Health's commitment to do the right thing for patients and communities is foundational to everything that they do. They prioritize access to care and community services that improve health and healing. Intermountain Health's legal department has played a key role in UCLI's programs and initiatives that support future legal professionals. Learn more about Intermountain Health and their mission at intermountainhealth.org. And for today's episode, I'm joined by Tracy Iglesias, and Tracy holds a Bachelor's of Science in Management Science from Bridgewater State College and a paralegal certificate from the Rollins College Paralegal Studies program. She received her paralegal certification in 1992 and has accumulated over 30 years of experience in the legal field. For the past decade, she has worked with Legacy SCL Health and Intermountain Health, and currently serves as a Senior Legal Analyst supporting the Associate Chief Legal Officer. Prior to moving to Colorado, Tracy worked at a hospital district in South Florida for 9 years, along with roles supporting an in-house IP attorney, a sole practitioner collection attorney, and a small law firm in Fort Lauderdale. Outside of work, she's passionate about animal rescue, volunteers at Platte Valley Hospital in Colorado with her husband and their 2 therapy dogs, Sasha Ann and Selena Diva. Welcome and thank you for being here, Tracy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, I am just so excited to have you. I'm sure all those that are listening as well are just they're really eager to learn more about what a paralegal has to say. So Tracy, to start us off, could you tell us a little bit more about your experience at Intermountain Health and what you do there and just, I guess, your day-to-day?
Sure. So you pretty much covered a lot of my career in the bio. So 30 years, that is crazy. It's crazy. Time has gone really fast. But just as a disclaimer, I'm speaking on behalf of my experience, and I'm not representing Intermountain on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
This is purely just my experience over the years as a paralegal. So I am paralegal, senior legal analyst at Intermountain. It's an employer and payment litigation department where I support the 3 attorneys, the associate chief legal officer, senior corporate counsel, and the corporate counsel. I became part of this department after our merger in 2021, where I was at Legacy SCL Health, and we merged with Intermountain, and I ended up being transferred into this department, which is where I wanted to go to. So I was so excited when I transferred over. My main focus in this department is assisting the 3 attorneys, and we work on employment claims, litigation discovery, wage claims, demand letters, Colorado civil rights claims. With any job description, the last thing is always other duties as assigned. So I have volunteered for a project a few years back after the merger where I now assist with the tax exemption renewal status in Utah for our hospitals. I work on legal holds. I help support DORA complaints, which could be license complaints against physicians. So it's a variety of duties that I do on a daily basis.
So would you say those are different areas of law then, just for people that are coming in and listening for the first time and trying to understand what that world might look like?
So most of it's litigation, but I focus a lot on the employment, supporting the employment attorneys.
There are definitely areas that I've never really explored, and you being a paralegal just brings in such a neat dynamic. I'm learning so much right now about you, your story, but also why you decided to become a paralegal. And I'm sure we'll get into that later. But for those listening who are thinking about becoming a paralegal, what was the educational path that you took? What are some recommendations and tips for those people that are thinking about that?
So when I started a long time ago.
Not that long ago.
I had discovered that there was a paralegal certificate, and I was always interested in it. And you always kind of have law school in the background, but I'm not a huge fan of going to school.
Gotcha. And by the way, was this in Colorado or?
No, this was in South Florida. I had just moved
Okay.
to South Florida. I'd only been there a few years. And,
Okay.
and I was at a job that I knew it wasn't my career.
Didn't love.
No.
Okay, gotcha.
You got to love a job when you come out of college. You want to love a job.
I mean, so much that you end up being there for 30 years
Yeah,
like you did.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And I heard about it, and I said, well, that's kind of interesting. I wouldn't mind doing that to get my foot in the door because I don't want to spend a lot of money on law school. So I heard about the paralegal certificate, and I think it was like $5,000 back then, which was a lot of money for me.
Yeah.
And
But I mean, comparatively to law school, right?
yeah.
That could be anywhere $30,000, $80,000 a year.
Oh, yeah.
So,
No.
yeah.
So I ended up doing it, and it was 3 times a week, if my memory serves me correctly, all day Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday nights. And for a year, we did this the classes, and I loved it. And then I got a job at this boutique law firm in Las Olas. So it led me to my first job where I got my foot in the door, and I was able to see if I liked the field. But you can also get associates now, bachelor's degrees in it. You can then also get certifications on it through NALA, National Association of Legal Assistants, which I did not do.
You just did the certificate.
Yeah, I just did the certificate.
And how long did that take you?
About a year.
Okay.
It took me about a year.
Okay.
So
$5,000 for the
a
year. Taking classes maybe 3 times a week.
Yes. Yeah, it was 3 times a week. I loved it. it. And I knew then, yeah, this is interesting. This could be an interesting career for me.
Can I ask you just really briefly, what made it interesting?
Well, that's funny because you watch it on TV, let's say.
Yeah.
You think, well, that's kind of cool. I wouldn't mind doing that. And then you get in and you're like, this is really interesting work. It's just, you're constantly learning.
Yeah.
It's not monotonous for me. And it was exciting and it was interesting. And I had attorneys that showed me the ropes and showed me how to do things,
Well, and it's just, this is the kind of field, the legal profession, I should say, is definitely one where you need those mentors. So I'm really glad that you had people there that said, Tracy, this is how you do this. If if you want to explore more in this area, this is how you do that. And so, I mean, this is why this podcast exists. But just even hearing your experience, it sounds like it's still true. Mentorship is everything.
It's huge,
right?
It's huge because you get your foot in the door, but if no one's willing to spend the time to train you or teach you how they like things done. In my case, as a paralegal, if my attorney's not willing to spend the time, I'm not going to succeed. And my goal is to help them succeed. Yeah. So mentorship is huge.
Mentorship, and it sounds like TV shows.
Oh, yeah.
Was there a specific one back then that that really inspired you?
I don't remember.
For me, it's like Criminal Minds, CSI Miami I used to watch a lot, or Law & Order was a big one for me growing up.
LA Law, I think, was my time.
Okay, there you go.
I think it was LA Law.
LA Law, so shows and mentorship.
Shows to give you an idea.
An idea.
Right.
Definitely not the same, but okay. Well, I mean, now I want to know, as you were exploring these areas after you received your certificate and started exploring the different types of jobs that you could get and maybe different areas, why Intermountain Health?
I had gone through a couple different jobs in South Florida, and then I got a job at the hospital district in South Florida in Broward County.
I'm from Broward County, so I just always have to love it.
When I got into the hospital district, I was like, this is fascinating. And I knew then that was kind of my direction I wanted to stay. So when I moved to Colorado, I was taking a chance because I had left that job to come here, and it's kind of a small niche. Yeah. And luckily, SCL Health was hiring just around the time I came. So I was able to get a job back in-house, and that was huge because I knew I wanted to stay in-house, and I knew I wanted to stay in healthcare. And if I hadn't gotten that job, I could have gone to a law firm, and I would have tried to focus on employment law because in South Florida, I was working a lot with our outside employment attorney, and I love that. I love that field. So, through experience, you kind of start finding out where you want to go and what you like to do.
No, absolutely. I feel like even just right now, I'm the associate director. I'm still a pre-law student, so I am learning what I like, how I'm going to take this into just the future career that I'm hoping to one day have as an attorney. So I'm definitely learning a lot, even just from your experience. So thanks for sharing that. I definitely want to understand a little bit more about what exactly a senior legal analyst does on the daily. Like what does your 8 a.m., what does Tracy do at 8 a.m. to 5 o'clock, Tracy? And maybe the in-betweens are the helpful tips that you think students would want to hear, or individuals would want to hear, I should say, about your day.
It really fluctuates. I really do not do the same thing every day, it seems. I mean, when a claim comes in, I do the same thing. I collect documents, I review them, summarize them for the attorneys. I organize. Organize is key. I have to keep my attorneys organized.
On point.
Yeah, on point, and keep the case moving.
It almost sounds to me like it's preparation, for their cases. I mean, I think about, the nurse before the doctor, right? The doctor is obviously needed and the nurse is there. The nurse preps and she or he or, whoever that person is will prepare a lot of information prior to the doctor coming in. I wonder, is that the same? Would you compare it
that's
to
a good way. That's a good way to look at it.
Okay.
For example, I collect documents. I'll summarize them for the attorneys. I'll field questions coming into the legal department from people outside, within the organization and even outside of the organization. Maybe one of our outside counsel wants something, I'll gather that for them. I have my consistent other duties as assigned, like I said. I also track employment law updates, which is pretty interesting. If a new law comes out, we track it on a spreadsheet and we present it to HR so that they're aware something has changed and we can alert people within the organization.
I would count that as policy involvement as well. So, because there's some, obviously there are policy changes. You guys are updated, or you update your attorneys in that way. Is that just monthly? Is that bi-monthly?
We do it monthly.
Okay.
I don't update the policies myself, but
Right. But you update the attorneys on what's been changed.
Right.
Okay.
I also have projects I get involved in. Like last week, I was scheduling witness interviews. It's never the same. It just fluctuates, and you touch so many things. That's just for me.
Yeah.
So the other SLAs in our organization, med mal, operations being the hospitals, which is what I did originally before I moved over. So I was working on physician contracts and things like that at the hospital level. So there's just so much you can do.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like there are many areas where you can interact with a lot of people. I mean, you just mentioned witnessing, collecting witness information, to you're just going to check in with the attorneys that maybe the 3 that you have to, speak with. It's a range. It sounds like it's a range. Would you say that you prefer one over the other? Is there one that is there an area or thing that you like to do the most in your everyday job that you're just like, oh yeah, I really like collecting, witness statements the most out of updating the attorneys on the policy changes?
No, I can't say there's anything.
You just love it all.
I do have things I don't like to.
Okay. Which I think, that's definitely important to tell people as well.
Well, but that's any job. Sometimes you got to do things
that you don't like.
I even have a disclaimer when I have to discuss. I'm like, you do know I don't like doing this.
So I can use that for any job. It's like, I don't like it, but I'm going to do it.
I have no choice.
And I'm not going to just do it. I'm going to do it well.
Of course you are. Of course you are, because my work reflects on my attorneys. I'll tell them that, I don't like doing this. And they'll go, all right, thanks, Tracy.
And they'll stay, because they know that you'll still do it. Right.
Yeah. So humor's important too.
Okay, Tracy. Well, if we could go back, I'm going to just rewind us here because I've been thinking a lot about this, and I'm sure all the listeners are thinking this as well. What drew you to the legal path, to this legal world? I mean, you have so much experience. We talked about it before. 30 years is a lot. I think there'd be a lot of aggressive nods listening to this. They're like, yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot of experience. What made you initially interested in law? You touched on law school, but what drew you into law?
Into the legal field?
Yeah.
Or being a paralegal?
Just not even specifically a paralegal, but for example, I grew up watching Criminal Minds, and the shows that I had said, right? I think even Suits. And I go, oh, wow, that's really interesting. And then it became personal for me when I had a family member pass actually about 5 years ago. And there was a lot of malpractice going on in the hospital. And so it was a 3-year case for my family. And I had such a terrible experience with an attorney. And I just thought to myself, man, like what, why is this the case for everyone? Is this the type of like treatment that most people get? If I were ever an attorney, I would never do that. What is it that this kind of attorney does? And so then I kind of went into this like rabbit hole, so to speak. And I did my research, and then I had conversations with professors, and I learned more about the space. And I thought, wow, the legal space could be a place for me. And then that's how I got into that. But what was it for you that got you even interested in law, in the legal field?
Well, it was having a job that I wasn't crazy at, that I knew would not be a career.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of
pivoting.
We kind of touched base on it, but that was why. And I couldn't see myself. I didn't know what else I would excel at. I was not sure. I just wasn't sure. You come out of school and you just you're like, now what?
Yeah.
And I knew this would be something I would be interested in.
Could you envision yourself in that field?
Not originally, but once I got into it, I could.
Let me ask you, why couldn't you envision yourself in that field?
I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I mean, that's kind of the bottom line. I just didn't know, and I thought this would be a good avenue. It was always interesting to me, and I just thought it would be a good way to see if I could make a career out of it. And I did make a career out of it.
Yeah, you made an incredible career out of it.
And I am proud of my career as being a paralegal. I'm proud of what I do, and I love what I do.
I do want to go off of what you mentioned. Like, so you said uncertainty. You graduated, and then you said to yourself, I have no idea what I'm going to do, so let me try this out. I don't see myself failing at it. Maybe you said to yourself, I'm a good writer. I am a good organizer, maybe. Like, did you think about your skills, and then you said, I'm going to use that as a way that could potentially, help me excel in this area? Or did you have any doubts as well?
No.
Okay.
No, because I know when I stick my mind to something, I can do it. I won't fail. I might make a mistake along the way.
But that's not failing.
No.
Right.
And I'll admit my mistake and move on. So no, I didn't have doubts that I wasn't exactly sure if it was what I wanted to do. But when you're a few years out of college and you're at a job and you're like, I can't see this. Yeah. That's when I did it.
You mentioned that you didn't have that ideology. You just said to yourself, I'm uncertain about what I'm going to do next, but you never doubted. And you never said, I can't envision myself there. But do you have any, maybe a tip for students who, or I should say for individuals who maybe can't envision themselves? Maybe it's because they think that they're not smart enough, or they think that world would never accept them. But if you could say something to that person that's not able to envision themselves as a paralegal or as somebody in the legal field, what would you say to that person?
You have to try. You have to try. You don't know unless you try.
Yeah.
You can't be afraid of failure. And as you go learn the field, you excel in it, and you learn from it. It's a great field to get into. It really is. And you learn so much. And if you don't have that urge to learn, then
not the right place.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I love that. Always doing something different.
Right. Yeah. And if they're unsure, get mentored. Find an attorney and say, can I follow you? Can I get mentored by you? Can I come in and see what you do on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah. Shadow experiences.
Yeah.
And incredible. Yeah, I mean, those are some of the small things that we offer here at UCLI, but I know that there are so many different organizations, and not even let's even forget about law stuff right now. If you want to become a doctor, if you want to become a pilot, all of that requires mentorship. So, I mean, I think it's safe to say in life in general, making mistakes does not equate to being a failure, right?
No.
and trying is success in itself.
Right.
So that's, thanks for sharing your experience with that.
You can't be afraid of trying, especially if you're unsure.
I think that's where people don't try enough. When people are unsure, they think that it's not safe to try.
Yeah.
But then you're saying you should try when you're at the peak of your unsurety.
Right, because it builds confidence.
Well, I'm really interested to learn a little bit more about how you became an SCL from just being a paralegal. So you started off as a paralegal and then you transferred. If you could tell me more about that.
So I've always been a paralegal legal assistant
Okay.
until I moved to Colorado. And when I joined SCL, they called it a Senior Legal Analyst.
Okay.
In my mind, it's still a paralegal. It might be based on experience, based on years doing it. If you were to transition, let's say, from a paralegal to an SLA, but SCL Health, we were a Senior Legal Analyst. And we remained that at Intermountain. So
I think it's safe to say, though, that it depends on whether or not you're in-house at a law firm and maybe even region, what your title might look like. But paralegal legally is pretty much like flat out what everyone would be called.
That's how. Yes, that's my interpretation.
Okay, and I would agree. Yeah, I think that's safe to tell people that it might just differ, but that legally you are a paralegal.
Yeah, I'm still doing the same role as a paralegal. My title is Senior Legal Analyst. So when people ask what does that do, I say I'm a paralegal.
Okay, well, let me go ahead. I'd love to dive into a little bit more of the understanding alternate legal careers. And many students assume that the only real legal career is becoming an attorney, even though the legal field depends on, like you mentioned before, this wide range of meaningful professions. Based off of your experience, how would you describe, I guess, the range of legal careers that exist outside of law school, apart from just being a paralegal? Maybe if you know of any others as well.
It's unlimited. Yeah, there's so many things you can do. If you go in-house, you might go in-house to a company that sells widgets and whatever.
So it could be pretty much, yeah.
If they have in-house legal, there's so many things. Then you learn supply chain, distribution. It's really, you can go in so many directions with it.
Tracy, let me ask you, what's your favorite clothing store? Let me just ask you that real quick.
TJ Maxx Home Goods?
TJ Maxx Home Goods. So do you think that TJ Maxx and Home Goods, because I think it's like one big, I think Marshall's even, I love Marshall's. Marshall's, I'm there,
Sierra.
Tracy. So like all of those places, they've got a legal team.
Probably
Nike,
in-house.
In-house.
They're so big.
I feel like in order to be protected, right? Like legally, you've got to have a legal team.
Or you have outside counsel doing it.
Okay.
So there you go. So then you're in that field.
Gotcha. And so do you know of any, I guess any of your coworkers that you have, are they SLCs, SCLs? SLAs? Are they CLAs? No.
SLAs.
SLAs.
Other paralegals?
So the other paralegals that are your coworkers, do they have other areas that they practice in that you're aware of as well? Or like, do they all just do the same thing that you do?
Oh, no, they do all
They all do different things.
Yeah,
Okay.
they all do different things.
Oh.
You know, you could be a med-mal paralegal.
You mentioned, for example, Tracy, that you're okay working behind the scenes, right? You're okay, being behind the attorney, but you have these organizational skills that are off the charts. You get the things done that you need to get done. But speaking to maybe those who are thinking about being a paralegal but have these big personalities that still like to, maybe they're like not as like, oh, I don't want to just stay in the back, but I do want to do more. Like, I think that people just think that paralegals and attorneys have one or the other kind of personality, Do your coworkers have these very different, different like type A personality, type B personality? It doesn't really matter. It's just what you're good at and where you practice.
Their personality, I think they're all going to be organized.
You have to be, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. If they thought, well, I could do more and I want to be more upfront, you can take that and go into compliance and go into other departments even moving up. I mean, you're not held to that role if you want to move up within in a company, let's say.
I'm glad that whoever's listening can hear that. Like, being a paralegal is not just one cookie cutter box.
No.
Know. So it sounds like being a paralegal, it just sounds really flexible. It sounds like it's very versatile too.
Yeah.
And it's malleable to your personality. Like, if you want to find a job in-house, maybe even just working in government, or, there's so many things that you can do. And that's mainly what I wanted to get at. And
right.
I'm glad that whoever's listening can hear that. Like, being a paralegal is not just one cookie cutter box.
No. Because you take your experience that when you're in this company.
Right.
And not just Intermountain, but any company. And let's say a management position opens up, you've got the inside already, and you've learned so much about it.
Right.
You could keep building your career from that. I kind of look at it as a way to get your foot in the door, if you wanted. If you had, I mean, for me, I love being a paralegal. So that wasn't, it's not that I'm not driven or anything like that. I'm good at what I do.
You driven at what you like to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
My goal is to not let my attorneys fail. So that's a good challenge. I mean, they're not gonna, but do you know what I mean? Like,
I think after this podcast, all the attorneys are going to start calling and asking you to come. I'd love to learn more about the specific skills that you had to maybe enhance. I mean, you had some really great foundational skills going into your job. I'm sure those have gotten even better, understanding who your attorneys are, how they function, right? And your role. But what are some skills that you think are important in this role and might be important for students to start developing now?
Organization.
Okay.
Yeah, without a doubt, organization, especially when things are coming at you from all different angles.
Yeah.
And even you sometimes get caught behind it, but you're like, okay, breathe. I've got this, and you get it back in line.
So good coping skills, it sounds like, as well.
Being able to handle stress.
Okay.
Things can get stressful. Communication's huge. Communication. Don't be afraid to ask.
Were you ever scared of asking a question when you first started?
Sometimes because you think, well, this might be dumb, and I still ask questions like that, and I'll even start it that way. Go, this might be a dumb question, but I'm on the fence about this, and I'm honest, And when you're honest, when you ask a question, my supervisor, my manager, loves to spend the time and explain it to me.
I mean, I would hope so, especially if you've got clients, right, who are spending time and money on your services. I sure hope that people are really understanding what they're doing. And so that's great. So asking questions, you said being honest with yourself, organizational skills, anything else that you can
critical thinking. Critical thinking. Knowing my role is to make my attorneys shine and look good and to support them. I found this post on LinkedIn, and I'd like to skim through it kind of quickly if you don't mind. So to give credit, Candace Rees, a board-certified paralegal, wrote this on LinkedIn. She had been asked by a college student going through paralegal school for 7 things that make a strong attorney-paralegal duo. Telepathy. Okay?
Okay.
A good attorney says, can you? And a good paralegal already drafted it and selected possible exhibits before the sentence ended. Interpretation services. Attorney says, tell the client XYZ. The paralegal translates it into human language. The client says, thank you, and that's the circle of life. Shared trauma bond. Together they've survived surprise hearings, clients who email 19 screenshots with 0 context, judges who want things expedited. Nothing creates trust like mutual suffering. Banter.
That took me a second there. I was mutual suffering. Okay.
That's why I thought this was great. Okay, this one I like. Banter, operational stability. A firm is healthy if the attorney and paralegal can joke through chaos. If the paralegal stops joking, close the office, something is wrong.
Okay, there you go.
Mutual respect. A great attorney trusts their paralegal. A great paralegal keeps their attorney alive. Both know the firm would crumble without the other. Continuous therapy. They learn together, grow together, and occasionally question all life decisions together. They know that they are a team that equally wants to protect the attorney's bar card and reputation. The simple truth behind every successful attorney is a very tired paralegal holding a legal pad, a client in crisis, a printer jam, and the entire universe together with a binder clip. And I had to laugh when I saw that because I did work for an attorney that did not know how to get out a paper jam.
Oh, okay.
And I would always laugh. She'd be like, my printer's jammed. And I'd be like, you're kidding me.
So she would always ask for your help on it.
So I had to laugh. So to me, those are key. I just love that because it really captures the life of a paralegal with your attorney.
So it sounds like it's about fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever have a moment then when you were, figuring out what attorney you were going to be assigned to and you said, it's not going to work for me?
Yes.
You did? Okay.
Yes.
What was it? Or just
It was in Florida.
Okay.
Yes, okay. I have. And
was it just a matter of personality or?
It just wasn't a good
fit.
It just wasn't a good fit.
Yeah.
And
that's okay.
And it is okay.
Yeah.
It is okay. Because for me, especially at this stage in my career, I want to laugh. Life's too short. So if I'm not laughing in my job, then I don't think it's a good fit.
That's a great point that I have never considered, that you should not only love your job, right? But if you got to laugh, or if you got to have a job that, you're going to work really hard at, you have to have a moment to laugh.
You have to.
Yeah, especially something like this. You're reading all day, writing all day.
Right. It can be stressful.
Right.
So you want to be able to laugh. So
with that, I mean, you're going back to what I said, you're reading and writing all day, and you said it can be stressful. How do you utilize your research and writing skills, and what does that look like as your paralegal?
Most of my research would be, if I have to look up things, it's statutes and things like that, and document review. And I don't do I don't do Westlaw or anything. We have one SLA who loves Westlaw, and so she kind of is our go-to person.
Kind of over that?
Yeah.
What is communication like with attorneys and executives, and why is organization and attention to detail so crucial?
Oh, so when they call us, they've got probably an emergency.
Right.
They're not calling up and saying, hey,
it's
sport,
urgent.
Hey, how'd the Seattle Seahawks do? Well, one of the attorneys would love that conversation. But, our communication has to be open, direct, and be able to provide the responses that they need.
Right.
And it might involve dropping what you're working on to get the response to them. But we've got to be professional, efficient.
I guess that for those listening, if you are not the person that, you're not as organized, this is the time to get really organized, right? Like this is the time to develop your critical thinking, read any book that you like to read, but read every day. Practice typing every day, practice your organizational skills, and practice your grammar skills as well, because those are things that I would say, don't really go overlooked in a profession like this.
Correct. You're correct.
And we'll go here to our final kind of section of area that I wanted to hit here. It's about deciding between law school and other paths. So a lot of our listeners as pre-law students trying to decide whether law school is actually the right step for them. From your experience, what questions should someone honestly ask themselves when choosing between law school and between another law profession?
Are you sure this is what you want to do? Because it's a huge commitment.
Yeah.
Do you know what the day-to-day would be like if you were an attorney? Talk to attorneys, ask to be mentored, take externships and writing courses, and take as many clinics where you're hands-on. Yeah. Going the paralegal route and then getting your foot in the door, and then going to law school, you experience all sides of it.
Wow. Yeah, that makes me think a lot about just the different lived experiences that people have. I mean, we partner with many attorneys here at UCLI, and everyone has such an incredibly unique story.
And their experience from their prior position just helps them in the legal field.
Well, and that goes into my next question is, how can working as a paralegal or legal analyst help someone make a more informed decision? And maybe what are some of the big benefits that you've been able to see firsthand by being a paralegal?
It gave me confidence.
Okay.
It taught me how to research. It gave me critical thinking. I now step back when someone asks me a question that, and I'll think about it. I'll research it before I answer. don't rush to answer. Make sure you get it right.
Yeah.
Don't assume.
I feel like in a job like this, you can't.
No.
No. You can't really afford to.
No.
Sounds like paralegals are probably one of the most resolute human beings on the face of the planet. You guys get things done, and you have a deadline. You have to get it done. So
you see a problem, you solve a problem.
You solve the problem.
That's my manager.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's great.
Learn to ask questions. If you see a problem, speak up.
And since we're on the topic of just, what you've learned, do you feel like you've been able to have a good work-life balance as well? We talked about stress earlier on as well. Like, do you have enough time for Tracy time? Like, do you have that Tracy time in the day to handle your stress, be with your family? I mean, be with your dogs too. I remember you mentioned Sasha and what was her?
Selena.
Mm-hmm. So all those fun hobbies that you do, I mean, you're able to manage it.
Yes.
It sounds like with this job.
At Intermountain, they want work-life balance. So yes, at my job, and pretty much all my jobs, your sanity matters. So, I mean, there's going to be times you're working late.
Right.
But you take a day off and rest the next day or something.
And is there anything, Tracy, that you wish more students knew about working in the legal field without becoming an attorney?
It's really interesting work, and you won't get bored. And if you're bored, that's on you. Because all you have to do, if you are bored and you want more work, ask for projects.
Well, Tracy, I'm going to go over this last little, it's actually really exciting. The writers have just really, really great questions to ask you, Tracy. And these are just the rapid fire questions that we're going to end this off with. But, and literally just first answer that comes to mind. Okay, you ready, Tracy? What's your favorite animal?
Dog.
Dogs, right? You can't like Selena more than Sasha.
No.
Okay, what's your favorite subject in school?
It was gym.
Was it a specific sport?
Floor hockey.
Never. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Floor hockey?
Yeah, in the winter.
In the winter. Specifically in the winter. Okay, what is your favorite type of music?
To date myself?
Dance
music from the 80s.
Dance music from the 80s. Dance music from the 80s. Cyndi Lauper. Michael Jackson?
Dance music.
Dance music. Like what artist?
Well, I mean, Cyndi Lauper's fine, but I loved going clubbing. Club music.
Oh, really? Oh.
I had way too much fun.
So I don't think there's such thing as way too much. And then what are you most looking forward to?
So we are going to be selling our house and moving to Utah.
Wow. Do you know what part of Utah you're moving?
We don't yet.
Okay. Congratulations. That's a big deal. You'll have the chance to talk to more of UCLI staff. So I'm just selfishly happy about that. That's amazing. Well, the last thing I wanted to end off here with is a final reflective question for you, Tracy. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes here. Just get comfortable, close your eyes. So imagine the version of yourself in high school or early college before you ever envisioned becoming a senior legal analyst. If you could speak to that younger Tracy, the one who liked to go clubbing the 80s music, what wisdom would you offer her about the path ahead?
I probably would have studied a little harder.
Yeah, okay.
Because I had a lot of fun. I wish I had learned about this certificate and this type of career earlier in my age. Not that I was old when I learned, but I sometimes wish I had started a little earlier.
Yeah.
It would have been
more helpful.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Well, Tracy, thank you so much for sharing your insight with us today, your lived experiences, your story. It's fantastic to hear what brought you in today, what your job looks like every single day, and what skills you've developed since then, how you use those today. And I think this is really, really valuable information for, I think, anyone who's wanting to get deeper into the world that is law. It's a very complex space, and you don't know what you don't know.
Well, that's really true. I really would encourage anyone to go the paralegal route to try it. It's a great job.
You laugh a lot, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. You learn. I mean, there's no real negative to it.
Well, I mean, I think this is one of the best introductions that a person can get, listening to what a paralegal has to say. And I just thank you so much for joining this episode, Tracy. And to everyone listening, this has been Tracy Iglesias here on the UCLI Legal Lounge podcast. Thank you so much. Thanks again, Tracy.
Thank you.